Sports talk conversations with a good laugh mixed in. This is the Sports Talk with Thetford and Ashby podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
We'll finish up that Golf USA commercial. They're 67th in Indiana Avenue. They have all the big names, and they got a repair shop. They got all the accessories. Anything you want golf, go there. They can help you, and you'd love working with these guys, Mike and Chet.
And let me tell you this, you guys, if you're having a little trouble putting, go in and get a little bit bigger grip or a bigger grip, and they can re-grip it, in
quick
5 minutes, less than 5 minutes. You go in there.
Does that really help, that bigger grip?
I think it does. It does.
Most people have gone to it.
Yeah.
They really have.
It takes the wrist. I take some the wrist out because it's more of a.
Oh.
I'm making some of this up.
No, that's probably true. But I can see how that would be true.
There's a reason people are going to it, and
I've still got. I need to do that. All right, Senior Benefit Solutions of West Texas. This is Laurie Kasler. This is Tanya Blackburn, and they are pros at this. You got to be, because it's you got to study. You got to learn, because it's
ever changing. It's ever changing because the government deals with it.
Yeah, and they stay on top of it, and they know what. Here's the deal: they can get you in the best coverage for the least amount of money, and protect you, and make sure that your health is protected and your medical well-being, and that's what they do at Senior Benefit Solutions of West Texas. All right.
Our next guest has got a busy morning ahead of him, and Wes, I'm amazed every time you say yes to this being on. Because we appreciate having you on, and we're hoping that we get to fill that thing up today. And tell us how we started off.
Well, we had a good day, guys. I was really, really proud of our guys and our girls. We qualified really well. We did have a couple of finals. The weight throw for the men, which Jacob Meckler got second, but qualified for nationals too in that race or in that event, and then we got a fifth place with Connor Wood there. And then our 5K freshman boy from Kenya won the 5K, which was a little bit of a surprise because we had never run him in the 5K yet. And we just got here in January. We didn't know him very well. So that was a big boost.
Hey, wait.
Say his name, Coach. How do you say
quickly, how many Kenyans are named Ernest?
Not many.
Yeah, Ernie. Y'all call him Ernie?
We just call him Ernie.
Say his last name. How do you say that?
Don't get me to line. So
Chariot. Or something.
Chariot. Yeah, that's what I call him, Ernest Chariot.
Okay, that's close enough.
We don't really know him that good.
It's like Ludwig. We called Ludwig A-Bear for 3 or 4 years, and it's O-Bear.
Oh, yeah, Greg told me everybody just doesn't know how to say his name.
Nobody can say it. But, hey, this was nice of you to let a kid just show up and run. That was nice. What's your name, son? Why don't you run this race?
Well, we knew he was a real good 3,000 meters, but we hadn't run him up to 5,000 meters. And, we're at altitude, and you just don't know with a freshman, and they've never run indoors in Kenya. So, but just a great run from him, and really proud of him.
Oh, real quickly, before we leave Ernest, how many laps is that, and who's counting these things? That's got to be a lot of laps.
I think it was 24. Yeah, it's a lot on a 200-meter track. And, we have an automatic counter, but we got great officials here. We have about 60 to 70 officials that are here counting laps. Each person gets an official to count their laps, and so we do it right.
Hey, I've told you this before. I used to help a Corky out there, and you'd get there, and they'd hand you a stopwatch, and you'd get down there, and it's like the 60. He goes, okay, you've got number 1, you got number 2. And if you got number like 5 or 6, that's hard to do because you got to count.
Yeah.
You got to time the
and they're all together in the 60.
A lot of times the guy that finished 6th had a faster time than the guy that finished 4th.
Yeah, it's pretty bad when they bring the guy and say, okay, who got 4th? And then 4 of you are raising your hand, But no, for the short stuff, well, you've got cameras here for everything.
Yeah.
But just to help them out, and this technology is incredible. They just don't make a mistake.
Yeah, no, that's right. Without a doubt.
Well, this is fun, Coach, and you're the defending champion, the Big 12 champion indoors in the men, and Good chance to repeat, I guess.
Yeah, if we're in good shape. If we qualified really good, and we've got some really good events too, the high jump and the triple jump, we're pretty good in those events on the men's side. And then we've got to take care. We got 6 of the 8 lanes in the 60 meters.
See, that's like unbelievable.
Well, how many did we have last year? 5?
We had 5, but we got 6 this year.
That's phenomenal.
And then we've got 4 hurdlers, Dingle, the linebacker, being one of them, which was just a thrill for me to have him make the final again this year. And but we've got to take care of business today. And
now, is Dingle a hurdler or the 60-meter guy?
The 60-meter hurdles is Mikael Dingle, our linebacker.
And he's a track guy.
I know.
He's a football player.
And he's fast.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was awful fun just to have him out and to help us to make a final, and he's going to score today. So,
How was
it
the
seems
crowd
like he's got
yesterday?
just a wonderful personality too.
yes, he is a competitor like I've never seen. I tell Joey he's a bull in a china closet, man. He's gonna break every hurdle, or he's gonna kill himself.
He's going through them.
I'm gonna win.
Yes, he is. He's a competitor, and that's what I told Joey after the race. This kid knows how to compete, and that's a big deal.
Yeah. It is a big deal. All right, so let's talk about the women. And
yes, the women. We're going to score, I think, over 100 points today.
Oh, wow.
We're having a really good meet. I don't think we can beat Oklahoma State, and we'll fight Texas, I think, for second on the women's side if we have a really good meet. Now, Texas could maybe beat Oklahoma State, but there's a lot of distance running, and Oklahoma State's loaded there, and Texas doesn't have that. Yeah. So that's my prediction, and then I think it'll be Oklahoma State, Texas, and us on the men. But our men just got to finish out what we've qualified in, and we're in good shape if we just compete good today.
Well, then on the distance, back to the distance, didn't you say that BYU is good at distance? So wouldn't that help water down Oklahoma State's dominance in the distance?
It would have, but it's for some reason, I don't know if it's their first year in the league, but they didn't really enter it that way. And I don't know if they're protecting those kids for the Nationals, thinking they couldn't win the Big 12, so we're just not going to run events. But they didn't enter a lot of their best kids in those events, so Oklahoma State's still dominating them.
Oh,
kind of tricky what you got to do, Coach, to figure out how to protect. There really is a lot goes into coaching a track and field team.
Well, I mean, we're praying we get out of today healthy. I mean, my sprinters are the highest, risk of getting injured of anybody. Mm-hmm. And so that's the gamble you take. But I just feel like the Big 12 championship, it's your university. It's,
you bet.
As our legendary Larry Hayes said, Kittley, and when I won my first one in 2005, said, enjoy it, Kittley, they're hard to get. Well, he was right.
Yeah.
But I just think what I love about the conference is I got 26 guys doing it, and it's your whole team almost trying to help you win. Whereas the national meet, don't think I don't want to win those, but it's just the quality that get to go. So it's not your whole team that really gets to go to the national meet. It's just the cream. And these 4th and 5ths with these kids on the team that work hard, it just makes me proud. And we're here to win championships in this conference and national. So that's what it's all about.
And it may be the 4th and 5ths that wind up determining who wins the Big 12.
You get 10 4th places, and that's 40 points. I mean, it's huge.
How many points? If we got 6 of the 8 lanes, if we finish 1 through 6, how many points is that?
Well, 10, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, whatever that is. But Houston's got a really good runner. There's some good people, but I don't think we'll do that. But we're gonna do well. We're gonna do real well there.
Coach, you're doing a fantastic job. And
36 points.
This facility that we have now, and it's just people just still ranting and raving about how they love to come run there.
They do, and this place was very full last night. Nothing makes me more proud, too, that this facility is phenomenal. I think it's the best facility in the world to run the indoor, and I think the venue is fun for fans, and I hope we have a lot come out today because they're going to see some fabulous times, some Big 12 records, and hopefully another championship for the Red Raiders.
Coach, didn't you say that Iowa State is no longer wanting to host the indoor?
That is correct. They have a flat 300-meter, which I don't like because we have to run the nationals on a bank track. I wish they would just make the rules totally for bank track. But they do allow people, they've grandfathered those people that have a 300-meter flat. But they don't want to put up the money to fix their facility up and that type of thing. And so they've just decided we're not ever hosting again. So,
all right. Of all these new teams coming in to the Big 12, the 4 that just did and the four that are coming, who might be interested in hosting the Big 12?
None of them have an indoor facility that's capable of having a championship.
Just us.
Good answer.
Yeah, that's a really good answer.
Yeah.
We're hoping to keep this thing here. We definitely have it next year, and they're debating about, the year after. K-State built a new track, but they don't have stands and facilities to host. And they're, whether they figure that out to where they could possibly bid, we're probably 2 or 3 years away from that. So I think the next 2 or 3 years we'll be here.
How many points did we score last year and win in the Big 12 championship?
176, and that won't happen ever again because I'm hoping for 130 to 140 today.
Yeah.
And we have 4 more teams biting into everybody, and then we add 2 more next year. We'll have 16 teams here next year.
Oh,
and
my goodness!
There's only 8 places, and you got 16 teams. It's a tough deal.
All right, of the ones coming in, the newbies and the ones that are coming next year, who's the most competitive that could give you a run for your money?
Well, I don't know that any of them are big team people, but they're really good individuals. Arizona State's got sprinters and mile relay and quarter milers, and then Arizona will have throwers and a few other things, and then Colorado have distance, so they will help us bust up Oklahoma State a little bit.
There you go.
And then Utah women are they're unreal good distance. So there's another distance school. So just kind of is what it is.
Okay. All right, good.
Coach, we're proud of you.
All right, tell the people coming out there, what is it, like $10 to get in, and what time can they get in?
Yeah, I think they can get in anytime that they show up. We've got people here presently to take your tickets and get you in the meet. But we start with 1 o'clock with the field events and 2 o'clock with the running, and we'll be done by 5:30.
And when he says that, he means it because they stick to that schedule unbelievably well. I'm assuming you can buy tickets out there. You don't have to do it online, do you? For us older folks?
You can just come right to the ticket window, and they'll get you a ticket and get you in.
I love that concept. Go to the ticket window and get a ticket and go hand it to somebody. I love it.
That's right.
Did Stan Scott always help you out there, Coach?
Always. Wasn't
he a wonderful guy? And we lost him this past,
we wouldn't have anything officiating-wise if it wasn't for Stan Scott. And I mean that. I just love him. And what he done for our program and for officiating in this area. We have the best track officials, and probably every one of them were certified by him because he's just a master at anything in the track and field world.
And a great guy. I mean, just the greatest.
Great human being, isn't he? Oh,
he
man.
really was.
Miss him. Yep.
Hey, Coach, we know you got more important things to do than this, and we appreciate your time this morning, and we'll be out there to root you on here in just a little while.
I appreciate it. Let's get us a trophy.
Go Red Raiders.
All right, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Wes Kittley, everybody, head coach, 20-something years.
Yeah, let's say 22.
Yeah, I think that's right. It's
going to
close.
be awfully close. And
fantastic.
That's what we shoot for here, is to be awfully close.
National championship coach here at Texas.
Oh, he brought up Larry Hayes, Sugarbush. He brought up Larry.
No, you have never said Larry Hayes' name without calling him Sugarbush.
I know. That's my goal the rest of my life.
Is to say it every time.
Sugarbush, Larry Hayes. I talked to Larry yesterday, and during our conversation, I'm
sorry.
I learned something that I did not know. That Chris Beard was Shannon Hayes, who is Larry Hayes, Sugarbush's son. Chris Beard was his assistant at Abilene Christian, I think.
Yeah, I didn't know that
All
either.
right, it gets better. It gets better. The current Texas Tech baseball coach was Shannon Hayes, Sugarbush's son, assistant at Howard Junior College. So anyway, Larry really likes Coach Gillespie.
He likes Coach Gillespie?
No, he really likes Coach. He does. So anyway.
Coach who? I got lost on this story. I'm sorry.
Well, it's easy to happen. But anyway, Shannon.
Do you know where? Did you mention Coach Gillespie before?
No, I did not.
Okay, so he likes Coach.
I just threw him in there.
Okay.
Anyway, Shannon's now at Grand Canyon as the softball coach.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a good coach.
A good coach and a good guy.
He was at Texas Tech.
Anyway, I asked Sugarbush how his team's doing. He goes, well, we're 8 and he goes, nah. Hey, they're on the bus driving to Durango when I talked to him. He goes, hey, what's our record? And they're 12-1.
12-1.
And unless they won yesterday, then they're 13-1. But he was having another great year up there in Colorado. But when he brought up Larry Hayes' name, it reminded me I talked to Larry just yesterday. So,
well, that's good.
Yeah.
That is good. All right, Texas Tech track today, indoor championship out at the Special Sports Performance Center.
I don't think it has a name.
Sports Performance Center.
Well, I mean, it's got that kind of name. But you think somebody would throw a few mil out there and have it be the
name it after Corky.
Bob and Betty.
They could name it
Sports
after Corky.
Performance Center.
Yeah, the Bob and Betty show.
Yeah. So some of you folks with lots of money, step up.
So anyway, that's going on today. The Lady Raiders are home today at 2 at the United Supermarkets Arena.
A lot going on today.
And Tech men play at 3 out at UCF. But, we weren't here.
And baseball's at 2.
And baseball's at 2 against Texas Southern. We nipped them yesterday and hopefully have another win today.
Sports talk conversations with a good laugh mixed in. This is the Sports Talk with Thetford and Ashby podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
All right, so Plains Capital, there's locations all over Lubbock, and I know a lot of people don't go in the bank anymore. You do it all on your phone, your computer, and that's fine. Plains can do that. I mean, they've got the mobile apps and everything you're looking for, but it's nice to have a place to go in and ask questions, and, anyway, they can do that. It's just they take care of Lubbock Tech and the area, do a great job, and we appreciate them. Cardinal Sports Center, everything sports, everything Texas Tech. And they got the sideline group now that's a part of them with all this Tech apparel. Really cool.
That's apparently real popular, too.
Yeah, big deal.
That's a good coup for Cardinals to get them.
It is a big deal. Brad White's doing a great job out on the south slide, just outside the loop, and you know where they are. You'll love the store. From sports to fashion, it has it all. Plus, it's got the coffee shop in there. Used to be called Rejuvenate, but now it's called
Cardinals Coffee Shop.
Coffee shop.
I don't know.
It's good.
That's pretty
all
close.
Right.
We got Dr. Mike Gustafson.
We do.
Following up Wes Kittley. And Gus, you probably had played in a few games similar to yesterday, but were you doing the radio with Jamie?
No, I was TV with John yesterday. John Harris
my God. Were y'all?
Yeah.
Lee.
What'd y'all talk about?
I'd be looking at my watch going, can't we just go on home?
You know what we got? What I had was 14 different text messages going, is there a run rule? And I didn't know. But you got 3 games this weekend, no midweek this week, and 3 games next weekend, and then a midweek.
You need to throw some pitching.
Yes, that's exactly it. It's almost like those inter squads where you go out there and go, hey, y'all keep hitting. Just let me get a new pitcher out there, and we'll just keep going. Tim might have been willing to do that, and he put in all the.
We don't have to bat.
Y'all can have more outs.
Right, exactly. Like, hey, let me just get my guy warm, and we'll.
And you can't tell a kid to go up there and make an out. You can't say, "Hey, go up there." And you might try and stretch some of those singles into doubles, maybe.
Yeah, that's true. Just run into an out. He subbed everything he could sub. Every guy was out there, and so but I just knew that there probably wasn't any run rule. Probably won't be one tomorrow or today, and might not be one tomorrow. And this Texas Southern team, like, their skipper chewed on them pretty good after the game. When I walked out, he was still down there chewing on them. So they're not just up here laying down, getting the crap beat out of them.
Well,
I mean,
Well, they're not laying down getting the crap beat out of them, but they are getting the crap beat out of them.
No, I know,
Hey.
but I'm just telling you, they're not up here
What?
surrendering.
And you may know this, you may not. You know lots of stuff. What do we pay them to come in here and take this whooping?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Okay.
I've always heard we pay decent guarantees, but I don't know what that number is these days. I really don't.
Okay.
They go to Texas Southern plays 3 at Kansas and Lawrence next week, and I know they've got a midweek with A&M later. I think Houston. So I mean, they're they're not. It's not like
that maybe how they're paying for their program.
Well, there's no doubt about that, and I salute them. They played in a cool HBCU, kind of a deal like we did in Arlington. They played in Minute Maid last weekend and took 2 or 3, and lost a reasonably competitive game the other day against A&M Corpus. So I didn't think the 32-5 was foreseeable, but
maybe they're pitching it
the wind blowing out. If the wind was howling out the left, and it's supposed to do that a little bit today and a lot tomorrow, I would say that's where your 32 runs might come from. But I was told that when Tech scored 31 in 1997, the College of the Southwest, that they lost to them the next day. Now, I haven't looked that up, but anything can happen, I guess.
So you think they're setting us up?
Well, I can tell you this. When we scored 6 in the first, I told John, I said, well, one thing about it, when you play behind this big this early on Friday, it does affect who you pitch, and they left the kid out there. They put the bottom of their group out there, and so if they do have better pitching, it's going to be.
And I know why we're not playing the run rule, but if you get in this situation now, Texas Southern's not going to be loaded with pitching anyway.
No.
But you're not going to see anybody that there's any chance has any way is going to be competitive because the game's over.
Did the pitcher?
Right.
Did the pitcher wave at the coach? Coach, can you come out here? I need to talk to you.
I think I'd start holding my elbow. Get a little tender here, Coach.
Coach, come here.
My neck's getting sore.
Those poor guys, it was tough to see. And their very first sub was a kid that topped out, and then I mean this. And I appreciate a kid that got out there and got after it because he wasn't scared. But he his first inning in 2/3, he topped out at 83, and it was soft. And we didn't score. Like, he got him out of the first, and the only 0 of the night or the afternoon was in the second. And I told him, back, you just talk about Coach Hayes, Sugar Bush. I never called him that, but Coach Hayes to me. But I told John on the show, I said, Coach Hayes used to joke and say, I wanted a pitcher that either threw over 90 or under 80.
That was going to be my next deal. You're better off throwing 78 than you are 88.
Yeah, that's absolutely it.
And maybe 68's better than 78.
And he got out. He got out for an inning in 2/3, and the second time through was when we put up another 6 and then another 4 on him. And so the kid, you look at the deal, and he went 3 1/3 and gave up 10 runs, but his first inning in a third was not bad. And word travels fast, though. Ooh.
Oh, shoot.
So who they
bless
playing
y'all's
today?
Heart for sitting up there trying to make conversation through that.
Yeah.
And it was you asked about the length of game. It was 3 hours and 30 minutes, and it was rough. The biggest challenge was trying to get through the scorecard because he subbed above both sides to sub like crazy and all that mess. And then right there at the end, it was tracking the run record. Well, like, you get to 28 or 29, like, well, the record's 31. And then you kind of get back to rooting for somebody to get a hit.
What's the all-time college record? You probably know that.
I think it's a 50.
Yeah.
See, there, I told you.
I bet it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Nebraska. It was actually Nebraska in the early days of the Big 12, I think, beating like Chicago State or Illinois Chicago or something.
They scored 50-something runs.
Yeah, it was 50, I believe, yeah.
We scored at Monterey. We scored 22 runs without an out against Hereford.
Oh. we beat Tascosa one time 29-0.
We played them a doubleheader, and neither game was – I think both games were 3 innings.
Oh, yeah.
They said that no mas.
Start the next game.
Yeah.
That's back when those run rules would you and if you're playing them in Lubbock, you only bat like 4, like you wouldn't even bat the bottom of the 5th. That's what we did when we beat Tascosa 29-0. We only had 4 at bats. That was, and then the perilous part about that is when you play them later that year, Coach Magel stand over there glaring at you when you just win 9-2. Like you guys, you know how that goes, Coach Ash.
Well, what I remember about Coach Magel, when he get frustrated with you, maybe you're supposed to get a bunt down and you didn't, or supposed to. Anyway, you'd look down there and he'd have his back to you.
Oh, yeah.
I always said if you could look down there and you see the little number 2-0, you're in better shape than if you look down there and see the big number 2-0, with his back to you. So
it's funny you say that. And you're exactly right. And we all know those gestures and the hands up, and he'd turn around and get on the knee and pick grass and do all that stuff. Yeah. I was when I got a bunch of tapes converted a few years ago and found a deal. And it was us playing. It was a good by-district game against Midland Lee, down at the Pro Park, the one you played in, and it was like a 7-4 game, so it was a decent baseball game. But there was 2 times in there where one of our guys chased a 58-foot curveball, and another one swung at a pitch up at his head, and the camera got to Coach Magel flailing around and turning his back and crawling around on the ground and doing all that. And so if I find those things, I'll send them to you because even though it happened 10 years after your time, it was probably the same stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly
You did
right.
say a 58-foot curveball.
Yeah, it was.
That's a tough curve.
Yeah,
58 feet.
You might accidentally hit that one on the hop.
Yeah, it was about that too. It was about that. It was kind of an ugly check swing, and Coach threw up his hands. And,
it bounced out in front of the plate about 2 feet.
Kind of like a cricket. Don't they call that a googly in cricket, where you bounce it in there? Yeah, it was about like that.
Yeah. Can you hit that one, Gus? You can hit it.
I tried to take them when I could.
No, I mean, but if you swung,
He didn't mean you literally. He meant, he meant by the rules.
you wouldn't have swung at it, but
yeah,
you can go ahead and tee off on it.
Yeah, you can. Coach asked, did you ever do that? Did you ever whack one that bounced? I never did. But
No.
I just chased him in the dirt, ran to first, hoping that it bounced past the catcher.
Talking about that curveball bouncing and swinging. I was playing with a guy, and he signed right out of high school, and he was raw as he could be. And we're playing in Walla Walla, Washington. I remember it like it's yesterday. Kurt Reed, he's left-handed, and they throw him a curveball, and he swings at it, and he swung around, and the ball hit him in the butt.
Oh, my gosh.
And we talked and said, okay, guys, we're going to draw straws. Loser has to go tell Kurt, give the money back and go to college.
Oh, my God.
But we didn't, and he wound up making it to AAA.
Well, all right.
Yeah, but his curveball hit him in the butt. Strike for a strike.
And he's swinging away.
Yeah.
Sometimes you make your mind up you're going to swing. You say, I'm swinging at this next pitch. I don't care where it is.
Yeah, that probably gives you a good idea that the guy's not seeing any spin at all either if he's just wailing like that.
Well, you've seen more Tech baseball than anybody, or as much as anybody this year.
Me and Jamie, yep.
Kirby asked me yesterday, what do you think so far? And I said, well, I think pretty good. I think we bit off a good schedule to start off with, and I think we're looking pretty darn good. What do you think?
Yep, I agree. I think, and you're exactly right. All of that stuff down there was challenging, maybe other than the UT Arlington game. We got out on those guys and ran away with it. But, what's happened, I mean, the guys that got off to slow starts down there in Arlington were Cash, Harrelson, and Tracer. And Harrelson got it going right there at the end, but he also represents some stuff defensively that we don't have a lot of out of anybody else. And Cash, 9 strikeouts, dumped probably kind of didn't make a play he could have against Tennessee, but gave Oregon State their first run the other day. And so you could see this isn't, he's sloppy and he's about to get that kind of that lineup card reminder. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, the Stripling kid that got 5 hits yesterday, everybody knew he could hit, and he got a pinch hit late deal against UTA and got the start against Oregon State at DH and went 2 for 4 with a walk. And that, that was good competition. It's like, hey, Stripling's going to be in there for somebody. And sure enough, it was Cash yesterday. And in fact, I got a text from David Gassion, who we had texted during your show a couple weeks ago, and he had he had texted me and said, "What's wrong with the Cash?" I said, "Well, he didn't play very good in Arlington. The guy that subbed in for him goes 5 hits and 7 RBIs, and Stripling can really hit." And so I think, I don't know where else Stripling can play, but those guys, he's probably not coming out for a while. That dude can hit, man.
And where's he from?
Georgia. He and Mac Hewer. And that's the thing about these games right here too. You're kind of getting to see some of the newer arms, and Jack Washburn will pitch tomorrow, and that was good. He threw 4 good clean innings against Oregon and didn't get the first 3 hitters in the 5th, and they ended up scoring, so his line didn't look good. He was a guy that missed all last year, and we need him to be good. And so there, the intrigue there. Obviously, you want to see us go out and play well and win, but there's some guys that are throwing here over the next 2 weeks that you got to be ready for the Longhorns. I mean, and that's the amazing thing. And I'm like you, Coach Ash. It's unfortunate that we open with those guys that dang early, but here, and that's the first weekend of spring break, by the way. The one thing I'll say that's cool about that weekend, like 2 weeks from today, we got Texas here playing baseball that afternoon, and then Tech plays their home finale in basketball against Baylor, so you can doubleheader that day. That ought to be pretty good sports day on campus.
Yeah.
But it is on the front end of spring break, and it's just right here, man. And so, if I was putting that schedule together, I would try to maybe send the northern team south at least for that first week, just to avoid.
The first 2 weeks.
Ooh, man, somebody's going to get to play a game at Cincinnati on March 10th or whatever. But
or go up there and not play.
Ooh, that's true. That's very true. So, I don't envy that part. But I wish something like this wasn't this early. And we played. Of course, this is a 30-game schedule this year and not 24. So it's 10 weekends instead of 8. Back to the way it was in the old days, back when Taylor was playing, and when Nebraska and A&M are in the league. And so we'll play straight through, and then our actual Big 12 Open week is the very, very, very last week, and that's when we go out to Tempe and play Arizona State and UNLV in a 3-game deal, and then go to the Big 12 tournament. So it's here in 2 weeks. So you can imagine Coach Hayes and Coach Gardner and them are fretting over getting everybody on the mound, trying to get ready for that deal.
Yeah, they best get some innings in. Before we wander off of our buddies down at Austin, are they really good, pretty good, mediocre? You used to just assume they were really good, and you can't make that assumption anymore.
Yeah, they replaced some guys. I watched a little bit of their game after I got home last night. They beat Cal Poly, which you used to know him as Cal Poly San Luis Obispo.
Well,
back in the day, that's where Audrey Smith played.
Yeah, and Stacy Petrie coached there, but he's fixing to move onward and upward to TCU.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. All right, we got 1 minute left. Is UT any good or not?
Yeah, they're pretty good. I think they're number 16 and we're number 19, so I would expect everything you'd want that to be. They had a shortstop make a great play last night in the deal, and they had good speed and all the stuff, but they only won 2-0, so maybe our 35 runs will beat their 2. I hope so.
All right, Gus. Hey, we appreciate you doing this.
Yeah.
Well, we don't want to bother you, but you're sort of our guy when it comes to baseball.
Well, if I can help, let me know, and go Wes Kittley. Go to the Fighting Wes Kittleys today. I'm so fired up for that.
You bet.
Championship, maybe. That'd be good.
Yes, sir. That'd be great.
Gus, we appreciate it.
See y'all.
Call a good one.
Sports talk conversations with a good laugh mixed in. This is the Sports Talk with Thetford and Ashby podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Fans, they're in Midland, Odessa. That's where these companies are, and they got more companies than that. If it has to do with oil and gas, they ought to be on your team because they can keep you up and running, make it work for you, and they're great to work with. J&W Services, Lenco Distributors in Midland, Texas, but they work the whole Permian Basin, eastern New Mexico. They'll help you. All right. Coach Kenny Perry is here. He is the associate head coach.
And he's just about to tell us how good he was as a football player at the University of – where were you before the University of Houston?
Arlington Lamar. Played for legendary Eddie Peach.
Okay.
Yeah, he was like I said, my football career has been, great.
What positions you play?
In high school I played running back, and Houston was doing the run and shoot, so they actually recruited me to play slot receiver. And then I was there for basically 2 weeks. And they had someone get hurt, and they said, "Can you play defense?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll do anything." So my freshman year, they moved me to corner, played on special teams, and then my sophomore year started playing more. Then my junior and senior year, I started, some good teams, and I couldn't play nowadays. These guys nowadays are too athletic. Back then, everybody ran the ball some, and
plus
I just
you're so much older.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm still athletic though.
Yeah,
in my mind, I think I am. So,
no, we got to do that.
Yeah,
That's
you have
what
to.
made
You have to
who
trick
you
yourself.
were.
Yeah, trust me. Back then, I was 5'8", 165 pounds back then. So, yeah, I took my lumps.
Kirby was a linebacker at about
yeah,
that size.
but I was way more athletic than Kirby. I could run.
So.
Kirby was he played. He just basically filled the A gap. I had to cover guys.
He had one job.
No, Bob told me he said Kirby Hoka was one of the best players he coached. Said he was smart and he was tough. So.
Yeah,
It had to be tough to
he wasn't big.
play linebacker at that size. Got a texter says, "Can you ask Coach Perry why Austin McNamara did not get invited to the combine? Do they not have punters and kickers?"
Well, they actually this year they have a new part of the combine. So the two guys. Usually what they do is they invite only 4 guys. They usually invite either 2 kickers, 2 punters, and a snapper. And so that's what they've always done. And then the waste of that was those guys were really just going to do interviews with teams. And so if you're kind of familiar with the draft, there's not very many kickers and punters. They don't draft very many of those guys, which I still think he's got a chance. But what they have added this year is part of the combine. The second day, those guys do punt and kick. So they invite other guys to the combine. It's nothing but they're not having to bench.
So he may go to that.
He's got invited to that.
He's going,
which is more important because you want to go and show what you're doing in front of the team. And then the fact he went to Senior Bowl is big because there's only 2 of those guys that go to that. So he was picked to go. He went and punted in the Senior Bowl.
Well, did they punt?
It's kind of not very much.
At the Senior Bowl, did they? Did they punt a time or two?
Yeah, they did. And the biggest thing is during practice, they set up practice where he's got to hit different balls, like backed up, a pressure ball, a pooch ball. So every day,
okay. So the practices is where
the
you
practices,
really got seen.
Exactly. The same thing, which is part of the combine, is going to be. It'll be set up where he's going to get to showcase against other guys what he can do. And like I said, there's no doubt Austin's going to. It's like anything. If a guy's there's going to be guys at the combine that aren't good football players that have great numbers, and you're going to go, well, how'd that guy get drafted? Well, he's 6'2", 215 pounds, and ran a 4.4. Maybe he wasn't a great college player, but Austin's going to punt in the NFL.
All right, before we leave the kickers and all, Texas Tech, y'all's philosophy is to go for it a lot on 4th down.
Mm-hmm.
Does it make it harder to recruit punters and kickers when you're not kicking a field goal on 4th and 4? You're going for it on 4th and 4, and you really don't want to go somewhere to be the extra point kicker.
Yeah.
You'd probably like to kick a few field goals and maybe punt a few times if you're title is punter.
Yeah.
You'd probably like to punt a few times.
Even still with all that, like Austin last year, I think he broke the NCAA record for most consecutive 40-yard game punt average with 37. So the fact that, we still do punt, it's just we don't punt. The best part is you don't want to realistically, you don't want to punt 6 or 7 times a game because that obviously tells you your offense sucks. So, you really 3 to 4 times, and then, we're going to go for it. That's just our nature, just being aggressive. But as far as kickers, the same thing. Trey Wolf got basically picked up for one reason. He hit some game-winning kicks that got us into overtime, and then he won the game.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing that, Gino, after the way he started last year, everybody wanted to, basically send him packing. But he finished the year great, and, he won us a game, and he hit some big kicks. So, it's the fact that when you get those opportunities.
You got that kid struggling the first of the year.
He hadn't kicked in 2 years. That's going to happen.
And so do you sit down with him?
Oh, yeah.
Are you like a psychologist there?
I'm the biggest mind game. Kickers are like golfers. I'm totally about mind games with these guys.
Yeah, Coach, you're messing with me. I know you are.
You're not going to teach this kid how to swing. He's been kicking like that since junior high, and he was a soccer player. Same with Austin. You don't change those guys' swing. You basically make it so hard on them mentally that when they get in those situations that they don't. That's really kicking. Kicking is more of a mental approach to the game. And like I said, it's not much different than golfer. You just kind of tweak what they're doing, and more so, my job is to get them ready for in games that they're not going to hurt us. And for the most part, since in my career, I haven't hurt guys.
Your job
I'm trying to help
is
them.
not to hurt us.
Yeah, exactly. Because like I said, there'll be enough people that will after the game will tell me what I did wrong. So, but now that's really the key with kickers. You just got to make it hard on them, and then when they get in the game, it's easy for them.
I do these high school luncheons, and it's something, and I play with them a little bit, and I said, Coach, did the game the other night, and I figured out what the problem is. I think y'all are using your punter way too much. They punted like 9 times. I'm like, I've noticed if you punt that many times, you don't normally win.
Yeah, it's really hard to recruit punters nowadays because back in the day and even up until probably 10, 15 years ago, people still had a coach on the staff that taught kids how to punt. They knew how to punt traditionally.
Yeah.
Well, then it started getting where they started doing this rugby punt, which there's no coaching to it. You just roll out and you kick it line drive. Well, the other thing that's done is it's made it harder to evaluate return guys because those guys are playing the line drive kick or it bounces. It's easy to catch instead of a traditional ball going up high, spiraling, turning over, and you have to play it off the wind. Totally different deal. Yeah. So it's a lot easier.
I don't know if you've met Curtis Jordan. He's an old.
Oh yeah. I love him.
Okay, Curtis is a great guy. When Curtis was out there, we had trouble returning punts, and finally we got to the point where we didn't return punts. We just got out of the way, and for the last part of the season, we just let it bounce, and roll.
Yeah, that's a
bad place to be.
That's all of our game nowadays is based on hidden yardage, and when you do that and you let a ball bounce 15 yards, that's a first down in 5 yards. So that's the way we look at it, and we do that every week. We have a plan to win that we go in and we have to win. This last year, I think we won all the games we played. We lost 3 games. Well, those 3 games we lost the hidden yardage. We end up losing the game. And so it's that big of a deal, when you say, a ball hits and bounces or you have a chance to, Austin was the king of pinning guys. Most people do inside the 20. I do inside the 15 because I think it's harder. And that's really where you want to pin people. Yeah. And he was pinning guys inside the 10.
Yeah, he was.
But he did it like 20-something times, which
it's great.
Well, yeah, because now it obviously makes it a longer field for your defense to have to, they just have to defend, a longer field. So
I've always thought the last thing I'd want to do on a college football team is return punts. We talked about Austin Zuzalik earlier, and he was a really good punt returner. I'm fair catching. I'm not going to. Because everybody's got a running start at you. Now, I know kickoffs is the same, but they're starting way down there, and you're getting the ball way before they're there. And so anyway, you got to have a special animal to return punts.
Obviously after our first year, you guys probably didn't know this or you never heard me. You guys never even listened to me say it. But going into last spring, we had to get better on punt returns. And we did. We were like number 4 or 5 in the country. We never took it in-house, but our average was great. So that's it's a part of the deal of the game that you got to be, we were great on kickoff returns. We were great on punt returns. So that's, I think that's a huge part of, that's part of my job is when games get in a lull that happens.
At hidden yardage. See,
it's a big deal.
It's a huge deal, but Coach, people don't talk.
No.
It really, that's something that
you said it.
Analytics.
Yeah. When you let a ball bounce 15 yards, like I said, I look at it as first down. And so, and it could be more. So, like when you kick the ball into the end zone and you think that you should have them, they get it on the 25-yard line instead of the 10. Same thing, big deal. So, yeah, we play that. We've been really fortunate because of having Austin. He's been a weapon, and you can pin people and you can change the field. It's the same thing with a kickoff guy. That's Reese Burkhart last year he was like 60. He was one of the tops of kicking the ball in the end zone. Less returns. People want to return it. Like for us, it's just the opposite. They mishit a ball. We expect to get it out past the 25. That's what our goal is.
All right, special teams guys. Let's just say punters, place kickers, deep snappers. How many of these guys are on scholarship? How many do you recruit in?
You try to get,
or do they walk on and then you give them a scholarship if they pan out?
A little bit of both. We end up signing the top deep snapper in the country this year, Ryan Vagana. We have a great one. Jackson Knotts, he's been here this is going on his 4th year, and he's been the guy. But we had the ability to sign one this past year, so we got the number one deep snapper. We signed, Jack is great. The kid, our punter that we got, so he's on scholarship, and then Gino. So we'll have usually three, and then you'll bring in another couple of walk-ons that you really want to bring in to replace those guys when they're done. But they have to be in, you want to put pressure on them, be here and kick and practice, and hopefully get some game time kicks as well. So,
all right, as a deep snapper, is it always the same guy that snaps on extra points and field goals, or is there usually? Or
no,
I thought that deep snapper may have such a hard fastball that.
Well, when you're recruiting a guy, you want a guy that can do punts better than field goals, because field goals are easy. I mean, we can teach a kid how to do that.
Tell you what's easier now is we used to call it DCs. You can't run over the snapper now, can you?
You can't line up on
Big difference snapping nowadays than it was.
That's why you can use it Jackson's not big. That's why you can use a smaller guy, but he can run. And so that helps. But, Ryan's going to be good too, because he played at Mater Dei, which they're one of the number one programs here, and he was a starting safety. So it's going to be good for him in coverage.
All right, Mater Dei.
Is that Dunk Center?
Is that
DC.
Cincinnati, Atlanta? Where's Mater Dei?
California.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah, they're always good. I think they usually finish.
Yeah,
in
probably the number
5.
one high school team in the nation over
good.
the last 50 years.
Yeah, they recruit the whole country, the whole state of California. That's why I always tell DeRuiter, all of our California guys, they always talk about that school division, the private school, and it is really good. It's one of the best private school divisions in the country. But the rest of California, they don't have to play. Those guys can recruit, and there's like about 7 or 8 of those schools. And they're really good.
Let me ask you something, Coach Perry. We're talking about centers and deep snapping, and I'm watching the Kansas City Chiefs play. Their center can't get the ball to Patrick. What is his problem?
Well, part of that has to do with sometimes when you're playing guys over the top of you.
You can't DC them.
Yeah, there's like that. That's kind of a different level when you're playing a 310-pound guy that can run a 4.7. It's just different, because those guys in snap, like a special teams guy, like you said, he knows he's not going to get hit. It's comfortable. He's going to snap it, and he's going to get the release. Yeah. Those guys, the split second they snap it, they're getting a hand upside their head, and they're getting pushed back. So you have that all. You have that all the time in the game. We have a back
just
snap.
Plays.
Yeah,
he
just catches it with one hand and throws it, goes left and throws it back across his body, makes a play.
How about the new field? I've heard so many things lately about it.
I'll be honest. I'm one of those guys that when I put so much into my career with coaches and kids that, when I leave football, I don't like messing with football. I can't mentally. I'm not wired like that, because I put a lot into it. But the other day when we went to the stadium, Joey said, "Hey, come, let's go look at the building." So we got over there, and I'm be honest with you, it takes much to kind of get me shocked. Like, I was shocked with what that thing looks like. I mean, they are. It's going to be unbelievable. I mean, our fans and the kids we're recruiting, my gosh, it's going to help us. It's just unbelievable what the thought. The process was how they did everything, the architecture, what it's going to look like, and for our fan base just to come and go, what, this is one of the top, if not the top facility in the country, and we know, that's, like I said, that's one of the great things about this place. I think, you guys probably know this more than me, but Tech's, it's at that thought process right now. You know what, we're not playing second field to anybody. And we're not coaching like that. We're going after it. We're going after the best players in the country, and coaches going after the best coaches. And we've got that now because of our fan base and our alumni and our donors. I think they were just like, hey, this is Texas Tech. This is what we want to be.
When we drew that thing up, it was back before NIL, and that was the thing, is to have the better facilities and all for kids to come into and see and come to. Now, I think NIL money has trumped the facilities and all. Do you know enough about the NIL that we have? Are we competitive on a
we're definitely
national level?
No, we are competitive on a national level, but I still say this, and I'm going to use a team down south in College Station specifically. I think they tried throwing a bunch of money out, and they lost mostly all that team. It still goes back into, you have to have a culture. You have to build, and that's where Joey McGuire is different than a lot of these guys.
I agree with you.
He's building a culture. So when we still took more high school kids in. We signed 21 high school kids, and if you guys think about it, the way I look at it, those kids in high school are going through off season. Well, what's high school off season about? Culture. So the more high school kids you can get, and what our NIL collective is doing, they're making it for all of our kids to be successful. So you don't have, these new kids coming in making so much more money than everybody else. Well, that's going to create locker room issues. Mm-hmm. And I know that, our coach, I know Joey, that's the last thing he wants is he wants to build culture. He wants these kids to come here because they want to come to Texas Tech and Lubbock, Texas, and they want to play for our fans. He don't want them to come here because we're giving them $40,000-$50,000. They don't care. That doesn't matter, because once that kid's not playing, guess what's happening? He's pissed off. He's leaving in the year, and so then you're sitting with nothing.
And trash talking us.
Exactly. So you want to build it's all about culture, and I still think the one thing that we have over everybody else in Texas is we have great high school coaches that teach kids how to be, football players and good students and good citizens in off season. That's where it happens, and we get those guys, and then we're an extension of that program.
Yeah.
I thought I saw Matt Dowdy walking out there.
Oh, he did show up.
Oh, if Dowdy's here, he usually gets up at 10 o'clock every day and goes home at 3. So this is about right for him. He works
from 10 to 3.
10 to 3. Yeah, he usually goes and plays golf or works out, and then shows up at the office after going to Starbucks. And he'll take lunch at 12.
And he's got a Starbucks with him.
Yeah, and then he'll come over to the office, act like he's been there working.
Yeah.
You've been listening to the Sports Talk with Thetford and Ashby podcast from Double T 97.3. Catch the show live Saturday mornings from 9 to noon on Double T 97.3 FM or on the Double T 97.3 mobile app.